Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Kleinknecht here with, of course, head coach Scott Langer. Coach, coming off a weekend on the road up in Bismarck, a 7-0 win Friday night. Ice really pretty tilted, especially after a very strong third period. Another great night of goaltending from Jake Sibell. Friday night, like we talked about on the bus, there's not a lot to be disappointed of or with after Friday.
Yeah, no, I thought our guys played a good game. Obviously, the game plan was good, and you know, Friday night, getting off the bus, you know, in a building that's tough to play in. I thought our guys did a great job, and obviously, you know, the third period, you know, the way that I thought we were just okay for two periods. We were just okay, but then all of a sudden, Wings hockey surfaced in the third period, and you know, we were on them. We were on them pretty good, and you know, it's nice having Sibell back there. You know, I thought he had a fantastic weekend, and even though it was 7-0 first night, you know, he still made the saves he had to make.
Yeah, well, and we talked about, you know, pregame Saturday night. While chances might have been limited, there were a handful though where he had to come up with some timely saves and big moments. You know, going into Saturday, a different story. A very tight game throughout. And it just seemed like it just kept building. The intensity just kept going throughout as each period passed, of course, going on to overtime and then the shootout. What did you think of Saturday?
Well, I would say it was somewhat of a track meet. Mm-hmm. You know, that it was up and down the ice. I thought it was a really good hockey game between two good teams. You know, there was chances being taken away by both teams. There was chances from both teams, and you know, we just. We found a way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, we had to rely on goaltending. It's I thought they had, you know, the quality chances on us, even a breakaway in overtime, which had to be stopped. And Jake gave us an opportunity to win that game, and obviously Constantino and Matsui did that.
Well, and as you said, you know, Piowski had a couple of opportunities there where it was 1-0, and Jake, you know, stonewalled them. There were just multiple times. There was a few chances though where, I mean, honestly, I started to feel like, okay, this isn't the Wings' night, because it was like there's an open side of the net, and we hit a post, and it's just like this isn't going well. But yet you stay the course. You know, you just kind of keep working in a stronger third period again. And we've talked about that, about the work ethic and about them coming out of the locker room after the second intermission and saying, you know what, we're not done yet. You know, there's another gear to find. The goal to get on the board by Reed, you know, it was kind of well, I would call him like a greasy goal. You know, it was one of those that was bouncing around a little bit. There's a goaltender on his side, and just lots of things happening. I don't want to call that puck luck, but you kind of need some of that sometimes, don't you?
Oh, you for sure do. I mean, we had some real quality chances in those periods, and their goaltending was good. Their team defense was good, and we had some pucks jump in, and like you said, hitting posts, and it had to be a greasy goal. Yeah. That was the only way we were going to get that goal, and you know, we had multiple chances on that shift, and then, you know, Reed goes to the net and finds one, and it was huge. And obviously later in the game they score kind of I guess it's a nice goal. It's a tough angle shot that goes short side, but that was a huge goal for us, because everything we were trying to do was we just couldn't get it to bounce for us.
Right. Well, we'll have Jake Sibell coming on here in just a little bit here, and I want to talk to him about that goal, because it was right below me, so I could see that. I mean, he wasn't 8 inches off the goal line, a very tight angle, and it's got to be a tough play for a goaltender too. Doesn't even seem like there was anywhere to shoot at, but sometimes you get a puck to bounce off a shoulder or whatever. Shootout, you talked about it. Matsui and Cosentino go out. The first two skaters, they go out, and I always love talking about shootouts, because it's such a gut feeling. What was it about those two guys that told you these are my guys to go first?
Well, those are the guys in when we work on it in practice that seem to have a lot of success on it, and they're confident, and they play with a lot of confidence. You know, so it's not something they're going to be fearful of, you know, out there taking that shot. And
too much weight kind of thing.
No, yeah, I mean, they can handle it. They embrace it. And, you know, Clay's been my guy, you know, since he's been here. He's been my leadoff guy, and he just does a great job at it, and he wants it. So I think both those guys want it. You know, some guys, you know, they don't know if they. I don't think that not all of them want to be put in that situation, but there is some guys that certainly do and elevate. You know, those are two huge goals. I mean, you know, even the year we was 2 years ago we won 19 in a row. We needed to have. We were finding ways to win games different ways, and Saturday night was just one of those things. We had to stay the course. We had to stick with the game plan, and just think that if we keep working, that things would bounce our way, and they did.
Well, it was interesting. I think it was in between the second and third. I got a text from Steve Jennings that said, "Man, this is like a heavyweight fight," and I thought, you couldn't really put that any better. It was just two guys just swinging, throwing haymakers, and that was it almost had a playoff feel, you know.
Yeah. You know, anytime you play Bismarck, you get a good game because they're a hard-working group of guys, and their coach does a good job of getting them going. So I think that game was really good for us. I think we needed to be put in a situation where, you know, we had to win the tight game, because we have had a lot of games where we, you know, scored 4 or 5 a game, and we just relied on our defense, and we finished them out. But that game came right down to the final shot, and we found a way to win it.
It's good to have that in your back pocket as the season goes along too. You get into a tight spot, or you know, a situation where things may not be going your way. You know that you can overcome it. 14 straight now, and your 600th career win. Congratulations!
Thank you.
That is one heck of a milestone, and it's weird because it doesn't seem like that long ago that we were celebrating 500. But when you're winning in streaks, and the way that teams have in the last few years, it doesn't take long to catch that up to the 600 mark from 500. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, your career overall and getting to the 600 mark. There's been a lot of people along the way that you know, that you've relied on, and that have helped you to achieve that too.
Well, that's the number one reason why I have achieved that, is I've been able to surround myself with really good people, and people that work extremely hard for me, and we care for one another. And you can go all the way back to year one and just start thinking about the people that were by your side and believed in you, and believed that you had enough in you to be successful in juniors. You know, I was passed up by teams early on and didn't get the opportunity, but you know, I just love the game so much, and I loved being around the guys and helping develop them, that I just stuck with it. And obviously, getting good players didn't hurt, and getting good people to stick by me and believe in me, and you know, obviously you do that, good things can happen.
Well, for sure. Did it add anything to it that 600 was achieved in Bismarck, where your junior hockey career started?
Well,
as a player.
It's funny you say that, because the year I left to go coach in Chicago, they had an opportunity to hire me, and they passed me up, and I was on my way, and I ended up in Chicago in the USHL, and yeah, you're damn right. They had an opportunity. I spent 10 years in Bismarck, North Dakota, and I called it home at the time. So it's fantastic. It happened there.
Well, right. Well, there's more on the horizon too, folks. So stay tuned. An off week this week. No games this weekend. What does that look like? Does practice change up at all? Do you give the guys a few days off?
No, we just had our normal Monday off, but we're going to work on things that I think we need to get better at, you know, and utilize this time to continue to develop. And you know, when you're playing so many games in a row, you get a four-week practice week, and it's kind of geared towards the opponent you're playing. And this week we don't have to do that. We can work on more of our structure type stuff that we need to kind of shore up.
Good point. Never thought of that. Without having an opponent, you can kind of almost backtrack and go over some basics or some fundamental things that you may not be able to address at other times. Let's see. Final question I've got for you here. I'm told that there's some rising stars and celebrities in our midst, and I was emailed a question. They wanted me to ask you how you're dealing with all of the fame and attention that your wife and Laura have from their podcast, Those Coaches' Wives.
I don't watch it. I don't listen to it. You know, those guys have their own creativity and their reasons for doing things. So, you know what? They're two supportive women, and they support Hilly and I and what we do and the time away from them. And you have to find a good person if you're going to be a hockey coach. to be your partner. And I truly believe I have one of the best, and I'm sure Mike believes he's got one of the best. And they just support us, and they know the good and the bad, and they know how to help deal with it. And I support what they're trying to do. You know, it's not about them. There's a lot of people that have written them or reached out to them that are coaches' wives, and it's extremely difficult to deal with some of our ups and downs.
Travel and all kinds of things, yeah.
You name it. I mean, it's we come home sometimes, we don't want to talk to anybody. We come home sometimes, we're extremely excited. Things change from day to day. It's up and down, and it's interesting to see what kind of people are reaching out to them from high levels of sports to minor league baseball owners and people that you couldn't imagine have caught on to this thing. And you know what? I think it's fantastic because they're just reaching out to people that really share the same feelings that they do. They just had the heart to get it going and do it.
Well, it's to see a need and actually do something about it says a lot, for sure. And I meant that kind of as a joking way, of course, because I'm told all the time that they're going viral and that they're famous.
Well, they will.
But you're right. It actually does have a lot of meaning too. So, Coach, I appreciate you taking some time. Great wins this weekend, and enjoy the off weekend. Not that I'm sure you're not going to be sitting back doing nothing, because I know you better than that. But I appreciate you coming on the show, and looking forward to seeing the St. Cloud Norsemen here in the building here in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll take a break and be back with Jake Sibell coming up after this.
Your bird dog deserves a great hunt.
Let's go. Let's hunt some birds.
So do you. This season, hunt in Aberdeen, South Dakota, America's premier pheasant hunting destination. Experience the flush. Experience the rush of wild birds in wild places. Create your hunt of a lifetime this season in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Well, as usual, our second portion of Wings Weekly features a player, and this time we're joined by Jake Sibell, Central Division Star of the Week. Congratulations, Jake.
Thank you.
One heck of a weekend, and things are just rolling for you right now. 1.44 goals against average right now, and a save percentage of .942. Undefeated here this year. Things are really going well for you right now, and we're going to get into that a little deeper in just a little bit. But before we do, I wanted to go through the basics, the hockey history, so to speak. And one thing I always like to ask about goalies is, when did you decide that was your thing, that you wanted to be, instead of a skate-out skater, that you were actually going to be between the pipes?
I'd say probably about 10 years old, my dad made me make a decision. I always played goalie, probably from 8 years old. I played goalie and skater, kind of switched off, and that was fun. But then I kind of had to make a decision around pee-wee age, so I think 10 years old is when I went full-time. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe 9 or 8. I'm not sure exactly, but.
Hey, I always think back when I was first starting to play, it was the gear, it was the pads that I liked. When I was a little kid, I thought, they were so cool to wear the masks and stuff, so that's what I wanted to do, but it didn't go very well, and I ended up being a skate-out skater. Anyway, how did you get introduced to hockey? You have family members that played, maybe cousins, parents, whatever, that were involved?
Yeah, my whole family plays hockey. My dad played when he was younger. He played juniors, I'm not sure where. He played some form of juniors, and I don't think my mom did. My mom didn't play hockey, but my older brothers, my younger brother, my younger sister, my cousins play hockey. My cousins are in the NHL, actually, or AHL. They're the Anderson brothers from UMD.
Excellent.
Those are my first cousins, so it's kind of a hockey family. That's how I got into it.
Tradition that runs deep. You probably didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
All right. As far as the North American League, you've played around a little bit with some different teams and stuff, landed here in Aberdeen. And again, kind of leading up to what's been going so well for you this year, what's different about Aberdeen? Not just the team, the community, everything, as some of the other teams that you've been at.
It's great here. The fans are so good here. We get such a good atmosphere in this locker room, in this arena. Just everything about Aberdeen just screams excellence, and that's kind of what we push for, is to get a good product out on the ice for the fans, and it's just kind of a showcase of our culture around here and how good it is.
Excellent. after, well, Saturday night, after the shootout win, Josh Aycock, goalie coach for the Wings, was along on the road trip this time. And as I sat down, he said to me, he goes, what do you think looks different? What's different about Jake this year? And I said, I don't know. He looks faster. And maybe he's seeing it better. I'm not sure, but he's just feeling it. And he told me that a large part of it is because of all the work that you did in the off season.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little about that, about the dedication that it takes to, to when the season's off and everyone else is kind of out enjoying things and stuff, you're still putting in the work.
Yeah, it wasn't as tough. There wasn't as a lot of distractions this year because of COVID during the off season, but definitely going out in the field and doing sprints and doing agility work and just a lot of stuff got put into this. I knew this was going to be a big year for me. It was my last year of juniors. I'm running out of time, so I got to work this summer and did off-ice drills as much as I could and on-ice when I could when the rinks opened back up. So, yeah, I put in a lot of work this summer, and I think it's showing so far this year. I
would certainly say so. You talked about the on-ice, off-ice. There's a lot of things that dry land that skaters can do and so on, but goalies have a different I guess, way of going about doing dry land or off-ice drills and stuff. And you see a lot of guys juggling balls or doing different things like that. A lot of it's hand-eye too, isn't it?
Yeah. I work with a goalie company back home. That's what I do for a job. I'm a goalie coach, and I also do the drills with them because I'm still working on my game. And we do a lot, probably half an hour every day of hand-eye work, and I've been trying to juggle. I'm still not good at it, but just against the wall, I'm pretty good at that. I've been doing it all summer. That's usually, even before games, I'm doing hand-eye work. So a lot of agility too, getting comfortable on your feet and get different muscles in your legs activated, and at the same time doing the hand-eye. So it's kind of a mixture of everything.
Yeah, a lot of work and a recipe for, that all the pieces are there for success, for sure. I know I see the guys going off the wall and I just watch them going, holy cow, how do they do that? I wanted to talk a little too about the headspace of being a goalie, because let's be honest, it's different. I mean, you're kind of an island. You're on your own back there, and a lot of weight is on your shoulders. And adding to that, I don't know you all that well, but I've seen you enough in hotel lobbies and so on, where oftentimes it seems like you're kind of off on your own. Like you're thinking, you're kind of pensive and thoughtful. And I often wonder if that isn't, a focus thing, or if it's part of what makes a goalie a goalie. You know what I mean? Because you do have to have a little bit of a different mentality than the rest of the team in a sense.
Yeah, you don't really get to talk to anybody when you're on the ice, so you kind of get used to hanging out with your own thoughts. And this year, especially with my head, I've just been trying to think less, actually. And when I do think, trying to be more positive, not thinking about outcomes or anything, even though the outcomes have been positive, just thinking about the process, making the next save, sure. And not really thinking that much, hopefully. I don't like thinking that much, so.
Well, and you talked about the next save. That actually leads into my next question, which is recovering. When you do let in a goal, and it's tough to, I would imagine, to not kind of get down, to not get, you got it, but you have to recover quickly. You have to be able to say, all right, that's behind me, moving forward, and nothing else gets by, or whatever. That's going to be tricky in its own right.
Yeah, I think I kind of got that a lot better this year over the summer, talking with Josh, getting to know him better and getting to know his practices. And kind of is the same thing, like telling myself, I always tell myself during the games, one shot at a time. Right. No matter what happened before, what happens after, I'm always saying it. Even if it was a goal, I'm not going to change it up just because it went in. I'm just going to say it one shot at a time. Right. And it's been working so far. So
I should say so. The next piece, confidence. I mean, you got to be, when you like we kind of talked about, and not to backtrack really, but when you've put the work in and you're seeing the results, that's got to help, with the confidence factor and kind of feeling like I got this.
Yeah, I think confidence is really high right now, all around the room, especially with myself. I can feel myself a little bit taller. I feel bigger in the net. Sometimes when you get shelled a little bit, you kind of feel small, but right now I'm feeling pretty big and I'm enjoying it. Excellent.
Now, goalies, there's a bit of a brotherhood, it seems like. It always seems like when either maybe a goalie, there's a change, or in between periods, or at the start of game, you always see the goaltenders go to each other and kind of support each other and so on. and like there's a timeout, whatever, the goalie always seems to go to the other goaltender, and they kind of talk and hang out. It really is kind of a brotherhood, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We know what we each other go through, and like I said earlier, you don't get to talk to anybody on the ice, so you might as well go talk to your goalie partner, because he knows what's going on and he sees the same thing that you're probably seeing. And I really love Dom. He's a great kid, and we have our own superstitions and the TV timeouts and everything like that you probably see, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good brotherhood we have.
Well, and the splitting of time, as you said, you've got goalie partners. Last year you and Henry Welch, same thing, a brotherhood. But you had to kind of let him or watch him off, and in the same situation, it's reversed this time. That's both a little bit difficult, but by the same token, it seems like it's the norm. It seems like every year there's someone who's kind of, how do I put that? Watching, learning, waiting for their time, biding their time, and then the following year is their time to shine. And I've seen that with Henry Welsh. We saw it with Vernon. We've seen all kinds of goaltenders over the course of the years here as Aberdeen wing. But how do you stay, Connor Close, etc. We've seen guys over the years where they have to kind of wait their time. That's got to be a little bit frustrating at times, but yet you kind of understand it, I would imagine?
Yeah, I understand it. I've been through that a couple of years now, and being that guy on the bench, you just kind of got to learn from it and keep getting better, because you're only going to get a certain amount of opportunities, and you got to be ready for them. But being able to watch someone that's playing good, you can cheer for them and learn from them as well. So.
Yeah. I always find it interesting, and I've talked with goaltenders in the past, that I was asked about if it's a competition, and they're like, no, not really. Like, we don't feel like we compete against one another. We're together in this, so that's really cool. What advice would you give for a young goaltender? Say there's some 8, 9-year-old Aberdeen Cougar that's like, I really want to be a goaltender. How do you start to kind of sharpen those skills or enhance the skills needed to be a goaltender?
8, 9-year-old, I would say, don't focus too much. Just play. Play other sports. Play with your instincts. Just be an athlete. Once you get older, then maybe put a little bit more time into your craft and spend some time at home working on your craft. And it's a lot of time putting work in.
Sure.
After, even when you're not on the ice, it's not just practice. So when you're older, 13, 14, definitely do extra work. But when you're younger, just be an athlete. Go play whatever you want. Yeah. Good advice.
How about hobbies? We always talk, with players about what they do off the ice and stuff. Are you an outdoorsman? Are you a gamer? Anything like that?
During the winter, I'm a gamer. Hockey, and then go home and play some video games. During the summer, I goalie coach with that company I talked about before. But that's usually what my summers consist of, is goalie coaching and training myself. But during the winter, definitely a gamer.
You, being from Asante, Minnesota, is there a lot of, obviously, 10,000 lakes? Do you do any fishing or anything like that?
Not really. My older brother loves to fish. I like going with him sometimes, but I'm not very good, and I get bored out there. So. Well,
that's the thing. If you're not catching fish, it becomes boring.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Wright said, there's a fine line between standing on the shore like an idiot and fishing.
Yeah.
The fishing line, get it? Anyway. Let's see, I asked this of Nico earlier, and he found a loophole, so I'm going to close that loophole. If you had only one thing to eat for an entire year, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, had to pick one thing, one food, what would it be? And if it's pizza, it has to be the exact same kind of pizza each time.
Okay, that changes it.
Because Nico's like, and I was like, I didn't even think of that.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would go for a sausage and egg omelet. I think I could eat that every day.
There you go.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
That is good. All right. Well, Jake, I really appreciate you taking some time to talk with us a little bit and people get to know you and what's working so well. Again, it's a fantastic year you've got going on, and it's just been fun to watch you. It really has. The whole team, obviously, but certainly to watch you shine and have those moments like in that shootout where it was like that was just a huge game. And like Coach said, that was a game where there weren't a lot of goals being scored and stuff, and you needed good, solid goaltending. And you kind of carried the weight of the team on your shoulders over the course of the weekend there, specifically Saturday. So you definitely deserve that Central Division Star of the Week. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. Anybody you want to send a shout out to before we head out?
Shout out to the brothers and my sister. It was just her birthday, so happy late birthday, even though I already said it. I'm a good brother. And my mom and dad, shout out.
All right. Well, folks, this weekend, obviously, we're off. December 11th and 12th, but Friday and Saturday, December 18th and 19th versus the St. Cloud Norsemen here at the ODI Center. And Saturday, the 19th, is the Aspire Jersey auction following the game. Corporate night sponsorships are available for home games throughout the 2020-2021 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, and on iHeartRadio. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Once again, Jake Sibell, congratulations on Star of the Week, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.